So, as you all know, ICE is completely and utterly out of control in Minneapolis, in Minnesota. Trump has now resorted to lawfare to go after Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, to go after Tim Walz, also to go after Keith Ellison, the attorney general. And understand something, the actual criticism of Tim Walz and Jacob Frey is that they were going too soft on Trump and the feds here. Because Jacob Frey was asked directly, will you order the police officers to arrest the ICE agents who are committing crimes? And basically his response was, look, they have bigger guns and they have more people. So I want to, but I feel like I really can't do that. That's what he said. And so if anything, the criticism is you're too right-wing, you're too soft on them, not you're too hard on them. And Trump is now opening investigations about how they're impeding law enforcement. If anything, it's the opposite. If anything, their crime is not making sure everybody is treated as equal under the law. Okay? So just, it's a horrible, horrible scenario. Well, now we've reached the point where it's so bad on the ground that various police officers, police chiefs are coming out going, really? Really? We're going to have to go ahead and fucking wrap this bitch up because you guys are causing way more trouble than you're solving. So let's start with this clip here. We have Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara goes on 60 Minutes, and he says the following. Here we go.
Administration officials are adamant that this action that they're undertaking in Minneapolis right now is making this city safer.
Targeted, precise, pre-planned operations on violent offenders, that is a good thing. But I'm concerned that people in the administration don't actually understand the reality of what's happening on the street.
Nah, bro, they get it. They understand. They are not trying to do targeted operations going after violent, criminal, undocumented immigrants. They haven't done that in fucking forever. They have a directive from the likes of Stephen Miller where he says, what the fuck are you guys doing? Go raid the fucking 7-Elevens and the Home Depots and the meatpacking facilities. And in fact, we're going to disband the agency that goes after, for example, people in a cartel or child sex trafficking. They disbanded them and sent them all to the fucking Lowe's parking lot and said, go to town over here. That's what's happening. So here you have the officer. He doesn't even get it. He's like, sir, excuse me, you guys don't appear to be going after actual criminals. No shit. You don't say. This is only what every liberal and lefty has been screaming at the top of our lungs for the entire year Trump's been in office, that this has nothing to do with going after those people. Like literally over 90% of the people they're arresting have no criminal record whatsoever, and in many instances, they're not even undocumented. But these are not violent, criminal, undocumented immigrants. They're just not. They're going after innocent people, time and time again.
Actually understand the reality of what's happening on the street.
Chief O'Hara told us the city's 911 system is overwhelmed by complaints about immigration enforcement.
What are you seeing?
Seeing multiple calls of people who have been subjected to tear gas, pepper spray. At least one case, a person was removed from a vehicle and the car wasn't even placed in park and it was rolling down the roadway.
Jesus Christ, man. That's not it, though. We have more. So now we have another police chief in Minnesota, and he comes out and he goes into even more detail about how disastrous this thing has been and about how the ICE thugs are the criminals in many instances. Here we go.
Recently, as the last 2 weeks, we, as law enforcement community, have been receiving endless complaints about civil rights violations in our streets from U.S. citizens. What we're hearing is they're being stopped in traffic stops or on the street with no cause and being forced to demand paperwork to determine if they are here legally.
Oh.
As this went on over the past 2 weeks, we started hearing from our police officers the same complaints as they fell victim to this while off duty.
Oh, that woke them up, didn't it? That woke them right up. Off-duty police officers getting fucking harassed and assaulted and arrested by ICE criminals. And they're going, holy shit, what is going on here? Yeah, that's right. Again, this is what we warned you guys about.
Every one of these individuals is a person of color who has had this happen to them.
Oh my God. It's the black and brown officers getting harassed by ICE agents when they're off duty. No shit. Oh my God, bro.
In Brooklyn Park, one particular officer that shared her story with me was stopped as she passed ICE going down the roadway. When they boxed her in, they demanded her paperwork, of which she's a U.S. citizen and clearly would not have any paperwork. When she became concerned about the rhetoric and the way she was being treated, she pulled out her phone. In an attempt to record the incident, the phone was knocked out of her hands, preventing her from recording it. The officer had their guns drawn during this interaction. And after the officer became so concerned, they were forced to identify themselves as a Brooklyn Park police officer in hopes of slowing the incident and de-escalating the incident down. The agents then immediately left after hearing this, making no other comments, no other apologies, just got in their vehicles and left.
So, in other words, off-duty police are more lucky than other people because they get to say, hey, I'm a police officer. And then the ICE thugs they just start running away. But even that is so offensive that they're crossing the thin blue line, as it's called, that they're like, all right, man, what is going on here? We got to chill with this. And by the way, there is a track record. There is a history. We've covered other segments on this show of police officers going, hey, dog, I just saw ICE hit somebody with a car and drive away. I just saw them do a hit and run. That is criminal. Like, what are you doing? This is where we're at now, y'all.
Agents then immediately left after hearing this, making no other comments, no other apologies, just got in their vehicles and left. I wish I could tell you that this was an isolated incident. In fact, many of the chiefs standing behind me have similar incidents with their off-duty officers.
Oh, my God.
This isn't just important because it happened to off-duty police officers, but what it did do is we know that our officers know what the Constitution is, they know what right and wrong is, and they know when people are being targeted, and that's what they were. If it is happening to our officers, it pains me to think of how many of our community members are falling victim to this every day.
I did not have on my bingo card that in the next United States Civil War, the cops would be on our side. I did not have that on the bingo card. I thought for sure they would break with the Republicans. I was fucking convinced of that. Now they're out here like, hey, yo, ICE, what the fuck are y'all doing? That doesn't make no damn sense. Wow, man. Wow. But look, again, this is what we warned you. I warned you all along. It wasn't just me. So many of us have been saying this, but you're talking about a rogue paramilitary that completely ignores court rulings. They don't arrest people. They kidnap people. They abduct people. They traffic people. They sent people to a concentration camp because they had a mom and dad tattoo or an autism awareness tattoo. Okay, people literally got tortured at this facility. There's reason to believe that ICE lynched a guy at one of their facilities. There's credible allegations that they have slavery. They have forced labor at their facilities. They've arrested not only officers, but like U.S. Marshals and U.S. veterans. These are people who are so disgusting, they've raided schools before. We just discussed the other day, they tear gassed a baby, okay? They're shooting priests in the face with a pepper ball. We've seen all of this. They assaulted an 84-year-old couple. I mean, they are literal criminals that are doing this, and it's becoming more apparent to every single person involved. Next, Army veteran. To my point, Army veteran says ICE agents detained him for hours without access to phone or his attorney. Again, this is a paramilitary. This is Trump's paramilitary. Judd Legum says, how about this? This is terrifying. ICE has stopped paying for medical treatment for its 73,000 detainees. That's insane. Completely illegal. ICE has not paid its bills to third-party providers since October, and the situation will likely persist for months, a popular information investigation reveals. Meanwhile, critically ill ICE detainees are not receiving care. Again, wildly illegal. On this alone, the whole fucking thing should be abolished. This is like straight up Banana Republic shit where, you know, you arrest people and then you don't give them their medicine. You don't give them the care that they have a fucking constitutional right to. You don't pay the bills. ICE just got given over $100 billion in the big bullshit bill that the Republicans passed. Where's all that fucking money going if you're not even using it for basic care for the people that you take in? ICE has not paid any third-party providers for medical care for detainees since October 3rd. Last week, ICE posted a notice on an obscure government website announcing it will not begin processing such claims until at least April 30th. ICE's failure to pay its bills for months has caused some medical providers to deny services to ICE detainees. Administration source told Popular Information. In other cases, detainees have allegedly been denied essential medical care by ICE. Holy shit. So shout out to Judd Legum. Everybody could check this out on his thing, Popular Info. Just absolutely disturbing criminal stuff here. But the American people are onto it. YouGov poll came out. Do you support abolishing ICE? With independent voters, guys. Independents. Okay? Yes, 48%. No, 36%. Double-digit lead for abolish ICE based off what everybody's seeing right now. Okay? And then they don't help their case when they continue committing crimes on a daily basis. And the head of Customs and Border Protection, one of the federal thugs on the ground in Minneapolis, he comes out and he casually says shit like this. Listen to this.
I don't think the argument from a lot of people, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who doesn't want criminals who are alleged to do these things out of these communities. I mean, no one wants that. I think where a lot of the criticism comes in is within the tactics that you see ICE and others engaging in, that it's ordinary citizens who are not sex offenders or rapists getting swept up in.
Which, by the way, there was this video that went viral of this ICE thug driving his pickup, and he says to protesters, he's like, we're trying to get a child sex offender. This is who you're protecting. And that video went viral on the right, where all of them look at that, and they're like, see, the protesters are fucking stupid, and they're pro-criminal, and how dare they? They're getting in the way of a legitimate law enforcement operation. Meanwhile, every single liberal and every single lefty in the country thought the exact same fucking thing when this guy said that. Go arrest the president, motherfucker. Go arrest the president, the guy who's protecting the Epstein class, the guy who's protecting the billionaire pedophile cabal, the guy who, there's evidence of him being a pedophile. Okay? Don't give me this shit. Oh, you guys are, I can't believe you're protecting these people. The fucking executive branch of the government, the entire thing is protecting the worst pedophiles and giving them total immunity. Oh my God, bro.
Where you're talking about these ordinary citizens, mom, pa, America, that get swept up in what I see. I'm out on the streets just as Marcos Charles here is. We're on the streets with our troops almost every day. And what we see when folks get swept up, as you say, oftentimes it's those agitators, those rioters, and now I call them anarchists that actually cause mom and pa America to sometimes be near at or involved in a very tense situation when they shouldn't even be. There's no need for that violence that we see against law enforcement.
Violence against law enforcement? One of your criminals just shot a 37-year-old woman in the face 3 times at point-blank range and then fucking fled the scene. We're poor victims, us ICE thugs. We're little victims decked out in our military gear with all these weapons where we constantly harass and assault people all day long. By the way, he should be fucking fired immediately. Because what he said here is, oh no, these are not like mom and pop Americans. These are agitators and anarchists. I swear these assholes don't know the first fucking thing about the U.S. Constitution. They don't know the first thing about the law in this country, or they simply don't care. Because being an agitator is not a fucking crime. You know what a better term for agitator is? Protester. You know, it's that thing protected by the literal First Amendment in the Constitution. Oh, they're agitators and anarchists. Not anarchists. Anarchism is not a crime. It's a fucking political philosophy and ideology. You're being charged with anarchism, sir. That's not a thing. That is not a thing. Again, they don't know the first thing about the law. This guy, by the way, Greg Bavino, he makes a point, and I'm not kidding here, of dressing like a Nazi. I know you hope I'm kidding. I'm not. Go look at all the pictures. He walks around in that fucking trench coat looking like the Hugo Boss Nazi outfit. That's what he's doing. This guy is cosplaying as a Nazi, except now he's on the streets and acting like a real Nazi, and then he says shit like this. Like, sorry, it doesn't count what we're doing to these people because they're agitators and anarchists. Neither one of those things are a crime. Neither one of them is. What you guys do is a crime. When you walk around fucking going door to door trying to get people, total crime, violates the Fourth Amendment. Lying about having a warrant when you don't have a warrant, you always have an administrative warrant, which doesn't count instead of a judicial warrant, and you lie, that's a crime. You guys are the ones, they don't know the first thing. They don't know the difference between reasonable suspicion and probable cause. Their own people don't know that. You're the criminals. I can't, bro.
People that are really dialing down that rhetoric is the federal law enforcement entities that just want to conduct legal, ethical, and lawful law enforcement missions in the city to take out those violent criminals, bad people, and bad things.
Just a total lie. Just a total lie. Just a total lie. None of it is legal and none of it is ethical, and it's not targeting criminals. That is a lie, and he knows that's a lie. He knows that's not true. 2 men in ICE detention say they saw guards kill a fellow detainee. Now we're at what? About 40 people killed in Trump's second regime? Now the Trump administration is trying to deport the witnesses. Jesus Christ. So they witnessed to a murder and they're trying to deport them so they can't testify over that. Insane. Insane. And then we have Tom Homan. Ready? And he says the quiet part loud. Watch this.
You have any idea what percentage of people you're detaining turn out to be American citizens?
Well, first, is ICE arresting U.S. citizens? ICE arrests U.S. citizens every day.
Hey, bro, this was the time where you're supposed to go out there like a Greg Bovine boy and lie. You're supposed to go out there and I don't know what you're talking about. We're only going after violent, illegal immigrants. That's what we're doing. Here we arrest them all the time, American citizens. Yeah, that's sort of the fucking problem. That and the fact you're arresting non-criminal immigrants, and the fact that you don't follow the law, and the fact that really what you're doing is implementing NSPM 7 and cracking down on all dissent, cracking down on all non-MAGA people. It's not a coincidence that they're going after, blue cities here is what's happening. As I told you, it's a soft civil war. That's what we're witnessing. It's a soft civil war. You have the Trump regime sending, National Guard, the military, various elements of the federal government into these blue cities, harassing people, roughing people up, arresting them. And by the way, we also learned there's a quota. There's a quota system, and you get paid just from arrests. It doesn't even need to be deportations. So that's why you see these things of somebody talks back to an ICE thug, and then they arrest them. And that's not allowed. That's not legal. But since they're trying to hit that quota and get extra rewards, this is what they do. So now you know, man. Now you know. It is just, it's an historic crime is what we're witnessing. And the American people are onto it. That's why the poll numbers for MAGA are absolutely plummeting. And their lack of actual responsiveness, it could be their undoing. Because I can't imagine this goes on for much longer. You are actually playing with fire. And even though the U.S., as a general rule, I find our population relatively docile and passive, you're actually getting to our limits, which says a lot.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.